Hey, it's talking on a block here. And we're going to keep this one on a block here for a little while. All right. Some news came out today that when I look back on it, I knew this, but sometimes the things that you don't always keep up with it because it may not pertain to you, or you just stuff it in the back of your pocket and then just keep it moving. Now, President Trump, what he did, he signed an order to reverse President Biden, or former President Biden's um, order to remove the financial component of immigration. Because before, you had to first you 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 had to be examined by a doctor. You just couldn't come into the United States and not be examined by the doctor that'd check you out thoroughly to make sure, are you going to be viable? Do we have to take care of you? Because if that's the case, please stay home, right? And then the financial component was, when you come here, you're not relying on taxpayers. You're not relying on the United States citizens and naturalized citizens to take care of you for you to become a permanent resident. Now, he removed that part. And in fact, let me just go ahead and just show you. Now, I did a Google, what do you call it? I can't think of it now. A Google, whatever it is, right? But right here, take a look at this. Now here it says the Trump administration issued the final rule on July 16th. That was yesterday, to officially rescind the Biden era public charge regulation that has been in place since 2022. That's when President Biden was president. A new rule, which takes in effect in September 18th, which is going to be in a couple of months, 2026, broadening the criteria immigration officers to use to determine if an applicant for a green card or a visa is likely to become dependent on government benefits. That right there is huge, because Biden, what he has done, let me open this up a little bit more. The Biden era policies was enacted to limit such public benefit officials should be considered. If allowed, immigrants to receive a broader array of government assistance, as long as they did not become permanently dependent on cash programs. Well, they're going to become permanently dependent, on these government programs. And the government programs were paid by taxpayers who have been paying in for years. And now it's given so freely. And Biden, some may say, and depending on which part of the politics or the paradigm that you fall into. Now, there are those that are liberals, progressives, who are like, open up the door and allow everyone in. But look at the people that are saying that. AOC, now she's an American citizen. She was born in her people are from Puerto Rico. But however, Puerto Rico is a little interesting. It is in the Caribbean. It's an American territory, but however, they more so connect with Latin America. So their part is bring more Latin Americans in. And if you look at the politicians, the ones who are not screaming for it, but the ones who are voting for it and pushing for it, have an allegiance to another country and where their people are. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, wanting to bring your people, but you're going to have to do it in a way that goes according to the Constitution. So that's just my 2 cents on that, right? But here it goes on. The recension replaces this standard with a more stringent, comprehensive, and totality of the circumstances framework under the new policy. The U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services officers will have the authority to weigh, in which he's given more power to the people that are vetting the people that are coming in, vetting the people, and which is something that is greatly needed, in my humble opinion. Because now that the United States is, putting forth standards, now it's like, oh my God, you're xenophobic. No, we're just putting standards. And not all people that are immigrants feel that way. There are people from Africa, there are people from Asia, there are people from Central America and South America and Mexico say, wait a minute, no. When I came here, I had to pay money to go see a doctor, to make sure I didn't have anything that would cost taxpayers money. I had to pay for that out of my pocket in order to become a legal resident, a legal permanent resident, and now I'm a citizen. Why do you get a free ride? Why does the United States have to lower the standards for you? When I came here, I had money in my pocket. I had money to pay for an apartment and for a couple of months until I found a job. Why do you get a free ride? And it's not all immigrants who feel that, hey, open up the door, allow everybody in. They're like, no, not everybody comes here. America is for those who are going to fit the criteria, who are going to put America first, and they understand that. But that's not what Biden was doing. So I thought that was quite interesting. Now, this is something I really found interesting. Let me come out of this. Now here, when I saw this, Politics with Laura, I like her work. Here it is. Okay, and plus I follow her too. Now listen. This is Politics with Laura here. Okay, I got some interesting information. I just had to stop outside and to do this quick video. Before Joe Biden, there was a law for immigrants to come in here. They had to be able to take care of themselves and not be a burden on a taxpayer, or to survive in this country on taxpayers. Now, when Joe Biden got into office, one of the first things he did was he was like, I'm going to remove that part and allow immigrants to come in relying on taxpayer money. That's why you see people getting houses and getting public assistance and Medicare and Medicaid too, but are not offering anything to assist themselves to live in this country. So if you were not able to take care of yourself, then you were not a good candidate for residency. Now you have a lot of people that have come in that are not good not a good candidate for residency because they can't take care of themselves at all. They rely on the government. That's why you have some people in these big cities, like what is it? Oh my goodness, what is it called? Chicago, getting $13,000 worth of food stamps. I celebrate me. Sorry about that. Oh, forgive me for that. Forgive me. And right there, it's very true. Very, very true. And when you really stop and take a look at it, you're going to see a big difference between the people that became before Joe Biden and the people that are here after Joe Biden. And the ones who are screaming the most are the ones that are during the Joe Biden era or the Obama era, and the Dreamers, the Dreamer Acts, mm, and yeah, the Dreamer Acts. And if you're from like places like Nicaragua and what is it called? Not Nicara. I can't think of it right now. But that's why there's such um, upheaval about what Trump is doing, and what he's doing is all legal. And in fact, a friend of mine, recently told me, and I thought this was a very, very interesting. I'm not going to say her name, but she's going through therapy, and her therapist is Mexican, and she didn't know that her therapist was Mexican until she was talking about some issues, and she said illegal immigrant, and the therapist immediately stopped her and said, let's not use the term illegal immigrants. I'm sorry, illegal aliens, because everyone is a human being. And I was like, okay, that right there is a legal term, a legal immigration term. And that's, well, she told me that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so, and she told her therapist that that was a legal immigration term for someone to be an illegal alien. And she just said, well, if you say it once and I'm correcting you, but if you keep on saying it, I can't treat you, because that right there is a I can't remember exactly what she said, but I thought that was interesting. And I'm like, and so my friend said, oh, well, she's woke. I'm like, no, that's not what woke means. And the fact that the term woke has been bastardized to mean almost nothing. That's not being woke, but saying things for what they really are is very important. So once you start changing the terminology, well, I've gone off the beaten path. But however, let me see. Oh, let me see what else. Oh, and while I'm at it, okay, while I'm at this right here, um, one thing that people really don't talk about, and it's still on topic, are the economies. Now, since she said that her therapist is Mexican, right? And I thought this was interesting because Mexico is the 13th largest economy in the world. And look, just look right here. The gross domestic product, the GDP, is around 2.2 trillion. That's a lot of money, okay? Because I think Mexico has, I think, like 20 million people. Wait a minute, let me find out. Okay, forget about that. But 20 million people, right? But here's the interesting part. Texas, Mexico economic output, right? $4 trillion. However, the Mexican migration output, meaning people from Mexico leaving Mexico, the economic power of the Mexican migrant community in the United States alone is massive. This output functions as the eighth largest economy, surpasses countries like Australia and Spain. And I find that quite interesting, very, very interesting. And for that, you would really wonder why are people leaving their land like that? Why are they leaving? You know? So I just thought that was quite interesting. And is there something else I want to show you? No. But with the Trump, but with Trump and the act that he's rescinding due to what Biden did is really stirring the pot for the people that's going to affect the most. And you have people that are getting like $13,000 in food stamps, $5,000 on an EBT card for them to spend, while you have Americans that are struggling because they make $1 over, they don't qualify. But then you give it to people that have not put anything into the United States. So saying that, if that offends someone, saying that upsets someone, then that right there is something that that person is going to have to, deal with on their own. Because if that's a reality and they don't like that reality, it is their reality what they're putting on other people. Go figure. But please like, subscribe. I'm growing. I'm working hard. I'm growing. Please subscribe and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. And put something down in that comment. And I hope that we can have a good, fruitful conversation so that it may even turn into a live stream depending on how things go. But all right, I want to thank you for stopping by.